Willits is our town. Always has been, and always will be. Like any other town, it changes just a little bit from time to time. So we're here to let you know some of the things that are going on in your town.
Hi there, I'm Shari Williams-Andrews, your host for This Week in Willits, where we always learn more about our town and its recent and upcoming events. Our friends at Willits Economic Localization, WELL, recently held a forum on energy and water issues. Our first segment will show you what went on. Local water experts spoke, including hydrologist Larry Desmond, activist David Parch, and Quentin Rowland from the city of Willits. Additionally, Keith Rutledge of Ready presented their home energy conservation program. Watch and see what good ideas arose that can benefit you and our town. Next, we'll take a look at the Art in the Middle show at the Willits Center for the Arts. The gallery showcased the work of local middle school students, and they're quite a talented bunch. Finally, take a closer look at the WELL organization with this update on upcoming events for 2011, supplied by Coordinating Committee member Madge Strong. Okay, let's go to Willits Grange Hall for the Water and Energy Forum.
In January, the Willits Economic Localization, also known as WELL, hosted a Water and Energy Forum as part of their monthly meeting at the Willits Little Lake Grange. The event was free and open to the public. The featured speakers included Larry Desmond, a business owner of Mendocino Water Works and a water resource consultant.
This is the Eel River watershed. This is Humboldt Bay, and we're way down here. Where are we? Right here. So we're right on the edge of the watershed, or more importantly, we're at the top of the watershed. So what's great about this is that we're not taking water supply from other users. We're at the top. So you get good quality water for the most part. If you go off this way, you're heading towards the ocean, obviously. That's the
Quentin Rowland, the Water Conservation Officer for the City of Willits. David Parch, a member of the Willits Watershed Groups.
Will succeed at some point in turning that around and get people to become more and more aware of how significant that concept is and how we have to tune into figuring out what we need to do to preserve our watershed and to protect it. Because if we don't do that, we're screwed. Next to air, water is the most important resource we can think of.
And Keith Rutledge, co-founder of the Renewable Energy Development Institute in Willits.
Very few places on the planet really where people are self-reliant. The world has become pretty globalized, and we were importing, blueberries from Chile or something. Things are going all over the planet. We all know this stuff. Can we replace what we're doing now a little bit more over time? Well, we have the opportunity because we live in an incredible region. And whether it's our watershed there, I was going to bring my little 3D map, but we all know this region. We have the ocean. We've got mountains, we've got forests, we've got rivers, we've got lakes, we've got biomass, we've got every solar power, we've got wind, we've got all the things that we need here to basically replace those various imports that we're using if we're smart about it and knowing it's going to take a long time to do that, but we can start right in our own home and do that.
Each of the speakers used PowerPoint presentations, borrowed the wisdom of Wendell Berry, to discuss water and energy possibilities in Willits and the larger area. Larry Desmond covered water sources, storage delivery, and water purification methods.
But in the right application, very good. This is the newer pumps around deep solar is expensive. This is true. So use it extremely wisely. Use water wisely anyway. A typical application, I put a lot of these in. I very seldom use a battery.
Mr. Rowland covered the benefits of the gray water system using laundry or shower water in your landscape irrigation without using filters or treatment facilities.
There is the gray water coming out of your laundry machine, goes up into a three-way valve, and that's required.
Gray water systems can potentially save hundreds of gallons of water every year, but they do involve codes and guidelines. Mr. Rowland is a certified installer and can help guide potential residents through the process. he can be contacted through the City of Willits. Quinton also cautioned people not to take on their own gray water project as they can run into many pitfalls. The City of Willits also offers gray water installation training and workshops, which is funded through a water conservation grant, and they hope to offer more before the grant funding expires.
We started a long time ago, a little behind schedule, and it's sunsetting. We may extend the grant past March. I hope that we do, and if we do, then we can do another. We have another.
But this better implies the willingness and the ability to practice the virtues of domestic economy.
David Parch offered words of wisdom from Wendell Berry.
The virtues of domestic economy are frugality, continuous household maintenance and repair, neighborliness, and good husbandry of soil and water, or ecosystem and watershed. Wendell Berry's word, watershed.
Keith Rutledge discussed local and regional energy opportunities.
I mean, we know about the global situation, climate change, world natural resources, all that kind of stuff. Nationally, our energy plan pretty much sucks. Everybody knows that. We don't have an energy plan. We're working on smart grids. We're working on smart highways, supposedly, these kinds of things. So, I mean, there's talk going on. But really, I think focusing on our region, and in particular, we're going to bring it down to you as an individual within our locality and your responsibilities as a citizen and to your family, and how we can sort of build from the closest possible relationship a little bit out into the community, but we look at it as a regional kind of basis because we can't do it in a vacuum.
I just would like to hear how you guys feel about this.
During the panel discussion, some members of the audience brought up concerns about the PG&E's smart meters.
Well, it's interesting because that's not heat water, though. I mean, it is interesting. It's not just electricity, it's gas, okay? But it's also water meters, too. And a lot of the meetings I've been going to and all this stuff is what's happening is everybody's realizing revenue being lost is a big deal out there. And so part of the metering has to do with revenue as much as it does with all these other things, grid efficiencies and things like that. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, obviously, anything microwave radiation in the atmosphere, constructive, destructive interference, how it affects people. It's right outside your house, by your bedroom window, et cetera, 90 million different ways to slice it. What we're going to see is that we have to have a smart grid. I mean, one of the things the planet is happening is, Bucky Fuller and Nikola Tesla and these guys envisioned a worldwide electrical system. Well, we're starting to get there. I mean, Canada, Mexico, and the U.S. are starting to really connect up, and that means one blip in one place can trigger a whole bunch of problems in other places. And so part of this whole thing is how do you channel, power when it's so interconnected, whether it's a nuclear power plant or these giant wind farms, because, man, they get a big wind whipping down through there, and all of a sudden they're having to shut things down because they got too much power now. It's a huge thing. So smart meter is a tiny piece of that, but I got a feeling that it's going to be hard to fight it. Not saying we can't, and not to say there's not another way to do it. You can put that on the line itself, electrical power. So they could have done a smart meter for electricity by using the power lines. Yeah. Gas lines aren't connected to the power lines, so they decided to do this wireless thing to get gas and electricity in one. And I think they're going to go to water as well, the same smart.
Well, it's interesting, too, because people, as different communities are starting to look at it. As a population, I think we're pretty well informed, at least we think we are, and we ask questions. And PG&E wasn't ready for the questioning, and that's what's throwing them off. And so, minimally, what we're going to get out of this is hopefully more non-biased information from other resources, not just from what PG&E wants to hear. So I think it's going to be good.
Part of our role as Willits Economic Localization is to really focus the energy, as Madge had mentioned, focus the energy on the things that we see as important to a localization effort and help support people who are already doing work in those areas, and if there aren't people doing work in those areas, to maybe see if we can fill those holes. During this time where there's so much change going on, both globally and locally, so much energy percolating and so many people feeling hopeless about what some of the issues that we're facing, as a coordinating committee, we really thought it was important for WELL to have a monthly presence. So that's why we have our plan for the coming year. You may not be able to make it to all of those events every single month, but we wanted to make sure that we had a forum so that if you're wanting to plug in and see what you can do and connect with people who have similar interests, that this is one of the many places that we can do that at.
Hello, I'm Jennifer Loyster, and I am here as a host today for Art in the Middle, showcasing the artwork of our local middle school students in Ukiah and Willits. The show is open from today all the way through Sunday, February 27th. And as you can see on the wall behind me, the children have done absolutely wonderful things. There are specific topics that the children have worked with. It's really quite intriguing. There's quite a variety here. There's quilting pieces, there's ceramics, there are woven, hand-woven needle baskets, there's a lot of watercolor, there's a lot of graphite drawing, there's a very beautiful copy of one of Rembrandt's paintings. It's one of the ways that children, or students, I should say, best learn is to copy the masters. And a lot of totally original art, most of it is that. And some of it's abstract, some of it's just what you might call personal, and some of it's very, very detailed. The show runs from today, and it goes all the way through February 27th. The gallery is open Thursday and Friday from 4 to 7 p.m. and Saturday and Sunday from 12 to 3 p.m. It's right next to the Noyo Theater on Commercial Street in Willits.
Hello, I'm Madge Strong, and I'm on the coordinating committee of Willits Economic Localization, which we fondly call WELL. WELL has been in existence now for 6.5 years. WELL's vision is a enduring local economy that provides health and security for our community. That kind of takes in just about everything. So this slide is an illustration of kind of where we are now and where most communities, in fact, are in the world versus where we'd like to be. And on the left-hand side is the fact that we're very dependent on resources from the whole globe, not just from the rest of the United States. And what's illustrated on the right is where we're trying to head, which is to have our community be more self-sufficient, more self-reliant, more able to produce what we need for our citizens here locally. This is a quote from current city council member, former mayor, and now currently also a member of our WELL coordinating committee. She says, WELL has become a beacon of positive change in our community and beyond. They have not just studied issues relating to climate change, peak oil, and food security, but have implemented concrete steps towards solutions. And that's what we're trying to do, implement steps towards solutions here locally. We can do something. We can do things here in our community. And this is a quote from Howard Zinn that I really like. It says, "To live now as we think human beings should live, in defiance of all that is bad around us, is itself a marvelous victory." And that's part of what I get from working in my local community, is it feels good. It feels like I'm connected with my neighbors and my friends, and we're working together, and then I don't feel so bad about what's happening out there because we're being a model of what is possible, how human beings can live. So there's many benefits, besides the fact that it feels good, there's many benefits to working locally. One of them is that we can diversify our local employment. We need more jobs. Another big advantage is that we can supply ourselves with clean and efficient sources of the things we need for food, energy, and transportation. We can have better solutions here locally. Of course, what does that mean? We can secure a better future for our children. I'm really in this for the long haul, for our children and for our grandchildren. And as I said before, we can make strong connections with each other, we can also make strong connections with our natural environment. And Willits is blessed with a beautiful, beautiful natural environment. And that's one of the reasons why we're here. This, again, is an illustration of what we're heading towards, what we're trying to achieve, which is a more self-reliant community, where we depend on the sunlight that falls from the sky, the rainfall that falls from the sky, and we produce as much of our own resources for ourselves here locally. So very briefly, WELL has been around since 2004. We started by showing the film End of Suburbia, which was a real wake-up call about the fact that what we've been doing for the last half century isn't working anymore. And a lot of people got very involved, and we continue to have about 300 members in WELL. We've held dozens, in fact, I'd venture to say more like hundreds of programs here locally, bringing in guest speakers from all over the country and around the world. And we've talked about the big picture, the global picture, but we've also talked about really nitty-gritty stuff like how to can your own food and how to grow your own food. And these are all valuable skills. These are things our grandparents knew how to do, and I think we need to keep doing those things. We've also been a pioneer in the localization movement, and people have learned from us and come to Willits for regional conferences to try to replicate this kind of energy in other communities, because we don't want to just be a lifeboat. We want everybody to be a lifeboat. We want everybody in all of their communities to be doing this same healthy stuff. The farmers market, which is, as I said, every Thursday afternoon from 3 to 6 here in Willits. In the winter, it's at the Grange, and in the summer, it is at the city park. And you can get fresh food from your local farmers right here, and helps them and it helps you. Downtown improvements are something that a lot of us are working on. And this is just one illustration of what might be possible with our Main Street, the horrible bottleneck and safety hazards that we have there. All of this comes around to doing things ourselves. What can we do, each of us, locally? And one of the things, of course, is to buy local. It may cost a few extra pennies or dollars, but that money stays in the community. That goes around. That creates jobs locally. Then those people that have the jobs locally can spend more money locally, and it makes our whole economy much healthier and more vibrant. So it's worth an extra dollar or two. WELL is going to sponsor many activities during 2011. So in March, on the 27th of March, we'll have a garden forum, and that's going to have several local experts, probably 5 or 6 of our local master gardeners, talking about what works for making your home gardens. On April 17th, we're going to have Charles Bush, who's from the coast. He's going to be talking about both the advantages of buying local, how to do that, how to build your local economy, but he's also going to be talking about how do we talk to each other? How do we communicate across political lines to make our connections and make sure that we find common ground? On May 21st, we're going to have a barn dance, because this isn't just about work, this is about play. It's really important to build community, to do fun things together, and the barn dance is a great way to do that. And on June 26th, we're going to have a forum on transportation and land use, focusing primarily on many of the transportation issues that we have here. We already mentioned the Highway 101 bottleneck that we have. Yes. On August 28th, we're going to have I believe it's our 6th annual farm tour, but this time, instead of going to larger scale farms, or larger scale, like 1 acre, we're going to go to backyard farms and see what people have done right here in town, and how you can get inspired to do similar things. And the other advantage of that is we won't have to drive everywhere. We're going to meet at the Grange, probably 10 in the morning, and go walking around town and look at all these gardens. And on September 25th, we will have a guest speaker, and we have several leads on that, but we'll announce that later. On October 23rd, we're going to have an emergency preparedness forum. How do we prepare for emergencies? Not just in our households, but as a community. We want to hear from the sheriff, from the police, from the fire, and see how we are preparing ourselves. And our last meeting of 2011 will be a community forum, and this is something we're basically trying to do annually kind of take stock where we are, where we want to go, what priorities do we have for the coming year, what ideas do people have that they want to see worked on in the community, that they want to work on, that we can help with. Well, that's the end of the slideshow, and this is how you can contact WELL. One of the really important things here, if you do have a computer, is our website, well95490.org. And all those dates that I ran by there about our upcoming meetings, all the details of each of those will be on the website. So if you want to join WELL, you can do that on the website, or you can send us a check for $15. And when you're a member, you'll get all this information in our newsletter, which comes out every other month. And you can also phone us, and we'll give you a call back, and happy to talk about WELL to anybody out there. And also, if you would like to schedule a showing of this slideshow to a group that you belong to, again, just contact us. And we're really trying to build the connections within the community, weave our community together, and make it even better than it already is. Thank you so much.
That was our latest episode of This Week in Willits. The individual segments of this program are produced by local filmmakers, but you don't have to be a film pro to contribute to This Week in Willits. Contact us with your ideas to find out how you and your organization can be a part of our next program. I'm Shari. Goodbye until next time.
That's about it for now. Things are happening in Willits, as they always are, and things are changing, as they always do. Yet it's still the same familiar hometown we've all come to know and appreciate for what it is. We'd like to know what's happening with you, with your families, and the organizations which would not exist without your efforts and support. So give us a call at 459-2528 and let us know what's going on with you. Maybe you'll be a part of our next story. Keep tuned and join us next time to see what's happening this week in Willits.